heavyweight prospect Moses Itauma gave an interview with Umar on Box Nation. Now, obviously, Box Nation are in association. I don't know if they're in association, but they are, they're Queensbury true and true. We know that. So you'll often see Umar and Box Nation at a lot of Queensbury events, and they interviewed Moses Itauma at the show Frank Warren did in New York Hall on Friday night. Now, during that interview, and Itauma interviews I find interesting, especially considering the fact that he's building towards a big fight, and it is a big fight. The kid's only 19 years old. He won't be 20 until, I think, end of December. He's building towards a fight against Dempsey McKeon, who is not he's not a standout heavyweight by no stretch of the imagination. I know he's only got the one loss, which was to Filip Hrgović, but he was never the kind of guy who you'd look at and would think would set the world alight. But Moses Itauma, having only been pro for not even 2 years yet, to not even be 20 years old yet, to be going in there in what I think this is his 11th pro fight. So that's pretty good going to be going in there with Dempsey McKeon this early on in your respective careers. It's very good. And if he does a good job at him, or he does a better job than Filip Hrgović, then we really got to look and say, okay, I think we're onto something already, but we really need to have a look and say, okay, we are really onto something now. Again, someone as inexperienced in the pro game as he is. And again, he never had an extended amateur career. I mean, I think he could have, if he'd stayed amateur, he would have, well, I don't think maybe he wouldn't have gone ahead, but because of the likes of Delicious Ori and people like that, but I think he should have, because he would have stood a better chance of at least medaling. I don't think he maybe would have got gold, but in fact, he definitely wouldn't have got gold, in my opinion. Bakadir Jalilov, that's a topic for another video. Right, that's a whole nother topic for another video. But he could have done well in the Olympics, but he chose to go pro. He wants to break Mike Tyson's record, all that. Well, he was talking about his upcoming fight with Dempsey McKeon, which is obviously on the Fury undercard, Fury versus Usyk undercard. Then the subject of Johnny Fisher got asked, and obviously he was asked to give his opinion on Johnny Fisher's upcoming fight, which will be against Dave Allen. And yeah, he was of the opinion that Johnny Fisher is improving, that he should win the fight. He is the younger guy. He's got less miles on the clock. Dave Allen, whenever he's been given the opportunity, even when he's been the A side, has never really turned up. He's never really made the most of his opportunities. And that was a much younger Dave Allen. And he was fresher back then, because he's taken some beatings in his career. Big beatings. So I can't imagine, and he's retired. Remember, he retired a couple of years ago, came back, and he's done virtually nothing since the comeback. No disrespect to Dave Allen, I like his YouTube channel, but yeah, I agree with Itauma that Johnny Fisher should come through it. But then the question got asked, what about Fisher Itauma? And I've said that in the past, that if you want to do a Matchroom Queensbury, I don't see the problem necessarily in doing a prospect versus prospect on a Matchroom Queensbury. Why does it have to be really, well, let's say really, really good, but why does it have to be kind of fighters of a similar level? Or maybe similar level is the wrong word. You want 50-50 fights, but why does it have to be fighters who are at a similar stage in their respective career is a better way of using it? Why can't we open the show with a prospect versus prospect, Matchroom Queensbury, Queensbury Boxer, etc.? Why can't we do that? And then obviously the question was asked, if you both win, could we see a fight in their respective futures? And Itauma said, look, I've been asking for fights with loads of people, Johnny Fisher amongst them. The fight's never presented itself. And why would he take that fight against the 19-year-old when he warns that he could, quote, end his career? And he doesn't mean end his career in a sense of it's going to be a devastating knockout, I'm going to inflict a lot of punishment on him. But Johnny Fisher is a guy who, at 25, I think Johnny Fisher is thereabouts, at 25 years old, he's having the biggest step up of his career against Dave Allen. Moses Itauma, having been pro less than 2 years, at 19 years old, is fighting Dempsey McKeon. A former, well, he wasn't a former champion or anything like that, but he was a former highly ranked, let's just say heavyweight contender, whose only loss is to Filip Hrgović. That's very different than what Johnny Fisher is doing. Now, I got to respect Johnny Fisher because he's always struck me as someone who's very level-headed about his respective ability. He's never... Eddie Hearn is the guy who said that he's a world-level prospect, but, heaven forbid you mention the names of Moses Itauma or people like that. You go from Alan Babic to... Originally, he was going to fight Rudenko, who had seen better days years ago. When Povetkin fought back in 2017, he'd seen better days. much less Johnny Fisher now, to now fighting Dave Allen, who again has seen much better days. And even then he wasn't that good when he was certainly somewhat close to his peak. That doesn't quite jive with this whole, this is a world level prospect, when in actual fact you've got Moses Itauma, again younger, is fighting the likes of Dempsey McKean in his next fight on the same show as well. So Itauma, leaving it on the door, leaving the option open there to fight Johnny Fisher next. If they did do it, at the end of the day, it would be Turkey who gets that say. You know, Eddie Hearn can say what he wants to say, you know, oh, we'll do this or we'll do this. Listen, if Turkey wanted to do Fisher versus Babic or Fisher versus Moses Itauma, then it would get done. It's as simple as that. You know, Bob Arum has been saying something similar about the Jared Anderson-Bakody fight. If Turkey wants it done, it gets done. If that did happen, I would expect Moses Itauma to absolutely take Johnny Fisher apart. Take him apart. I like Johnny Fisher, as I said. He is a big ticket seller. The atmosphere, certainly when he fought in the Copper Box last time out, looked incredible. It looked very fun. It was an entertaining fight. Even though it was only a 30-second fight, it was still entertaining. But his level is very low. I mean, he fought Alan Babic, who fought in his last fight before then, Steve Robinson. It took him 6 rounds to get rid of Steve Robinson. And then the fight prior to that, fought that guy, I can't even remember his name now, the Polish heavyweight, or Polish heavyweight, bridgerweight, you know, bridgerweight. But he fought that guy whose name escapes me, and he knocked Babic out in the first round. And then he went on to get knocked out in the first round by Lawrence Okoli, and then Babic gets knocked out in the first round again. And you people who kind of overhype that win to say, oh, well, that's devastating, you know, like a mini Mike Tyson. Not really. It's Alan Babic. But yet then Itauma stops Mariusz Wach in 2 rounds and drops him, you know, he's only been dropped once prior to that by Arslan Makhmudov. He had been stopped in the past but never dropped like that. And he fought a pudding. How good is Mariusz Wach? Well, listen, I still think Mariusz Wach has probably a little bit more in the tank, and he's not got much, than Alan Babic, who just, I mean, Alan Babic got ruined in those gym wars. I've never seen anyone, because Babic was not, you could tell he was an accident waiting to happen. But I've never seen such a quick decline on a fighter who really, in his professional fights, didn't take a great deal of abuse. Not really. He wasn't fighting guys good enough to dish out a great deal of abuse. But he just went like that. It's crazy. He must have been absolutely, God only knows what was happening in those gyms. Good Lord, he left everything in the gym, that guy. Holy crap. But Itauma mentioning Johnny Fisher, warning him that he could end his career if they fought next. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think I rate Itauma too highly and that I don't rate Johnny Fisher high enough? Let me know in the comment section what you think of Itauma's comments. Leave it in the comments. Hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. Until next time, people. Peace.